role in the entire endocrinology and play a very important role in gynecology as well. The nerves and the peptides, they control all the hormonal secretion. When we are talking about oral contraceptives, why am I talking about these? We have to have a very good idea of how the pituitary glands and the hypothalamus, they control the growth hormones, the FSH, LH, prolactin, and ACTH. This is to know how the oral contraceptive pills help in better contraception. So we have to have an idea of how the entire endocrinology works, right from hypothalamus and the pituitary hormones. Now, if you see the hypothalamo-pituitary ovary axis, the HPO axis as it is called, which causes the natural control of synthetic hormones, the hypothalamus secretes GnRH. The hypothalamus secretes GnRH, which acts on the pituitary gland, and then they say the anterior pituitary gland secretes the LH and the FSH, and the ovaries, the LH and the FSH, they act on the ovaries, and then effectively a dominant follicle is created, and then ovulation occurs. Now, these ovaries, during the process of ovulation, release estrogen and progesterone, which has a negative feedback on the hypothalamus, because of which we have got a control on the amount of the hormones that is released. So the entire link, the GnRH, the LH-FSH, and the estrogen, progesterone, and then the negative feedback on the hypothalamus, this entire thing goes on a circle, as a circle, one dependent on the other. Now we all know about the menstruation cycle, how it happens, what is the level of the FSH and the LH during the cycle. If you see here, the blue line here is the FSH, the yellow line is the FSH. We can see that it is present during the follicular phase. There is a slight surge at the time of the ovulation, and still it is present at a very low level. Whereas the LH is also present for some time, and then there is a surge during ovulation, and then still it is later on, it is continuously being secreted. So now these FSH and LH, they are responsible for the secretion of the estrogen and the progesterone. So the estrogen, which is present in the initial phase of the cycle, there is a surge, and then the progesterone takes over after the ovulation has occurred. Now this is how in this the menstrual phase, there is a proliferative phase, and then there is a secretory phase on the endometrium, when this estrogen and progesterone, they act on the endometrium. So we have to know how these function in order to talk about contraception. Now, what are the types of molecules of hormones? The molecular class of hormones contains proteins, peptides, steroids, and various other things. Now, the history, if we go to the history of reproductive hormones, in 7000 BC, they realized that if the gonads were removed, there is loss of sexual activity. In 400 BC, Aristotle found the effects of castration in males. In 1849, Berthold did castration of roosters. In 1850, Leydig discovered the Leydig cells. The McG injected testis extracts, and Marshall and Joly injected ovary extract. This was how they did the research on the hormones. In 1920, Allen and Doisy, they isolated and identified estrone. Corner and Allen isolated and identified progesterone. So progesterone was identified and isolated in 1920. And in 1950, David and others, they isolated and identified testosterone. Sorry about this, there is some problem with the computer, but Laqueur, one of the founders of Organon, he named the hormone testosterone in 1950. Now there are reproductive steroids are synthesized in the gonads. They act on oogenesis, and they also act on the spermatogenesis, and they are secreted into circulation for the other biological activities. Now coming to estrogen, estrogen is there is cyclical production of estrogen in the ovary. The theca cells produce the androstenedione and testosterone, and granulosa cells produce the estrogen. But also the 17 beta estradiol production is also there in testes, brain, skin, and fat tissue to a very small extent. Now the estrogen receptors, we should know what are the alpha receptors, where there is high binding of estrogen, like uterus, the regulation of the endometrium, testis, pituitary, ovary, kidney, adrenal, and other sex accessory tissues like breast, secondary for secondary sexual characters, bone homeostasis, cardiovascular homeostasis. Estrogen is required for everything. The beta receptors have got very low binding, and they mainly bind to the brain for the feedback of the HP axis. So the alpha receptors cause all the function of the estrogen, whereas the beta receptors, they are responsible for the feedback, negative feedback that they give on the HP axis. Now coming to progesterone, progesterone is produced in the corpus luteum of the ovary and in the Leydig cells in the testis. In the ovary, the granulosa cells become the corpus luteum, which secretes progesterone and estradiol. After 10 to 12 days, there is regression of the corpus luteum if pregnant, and placenta takes over the progesterone production. Now, the testosterone produced by the gonads and also by the adrenal glands, the brain, and the placenta, the progesterone, and regulation and is stimulated by the production of LH. Hypothalamus secretes GnRH, which acts on the pituitary, which secretes LH, and then the LH acts on the corpus luteum, and progesterone is secreted. Progesterone. So it is for the necessity for the pregnancy. The primary effect is that it prepares the uterus for implantation by the proliferative endometrium and prepares the body for pregnancy. But remember, all natural progesterone destroyed in the digestive system when consumed orally. All oral contraceptives contain progestin, which is a synthetic form of progesterone, because if we add the natural progesterone, they get destroyed in the digestive system when they are taken orally. Now, progesterone receptors in the uterus are necessary for implantation, for maintenance of the pregnancy, and the uterine growth throughout the pregnancy. In the ovary, progesterone is required for the release of the mature oocyte, that is what is known as the LH surge. So it is required for that. And in the breast, for the development of the mammary gland. In the brain, the feedback of the HP axis. Like estrogen, the progesterone also causes a negative feedback on the HP axis and mediation of sexually responsible behavior. It also acts on the vascular epithelium, endothelium, and the osteoblast. Now, the third hormone that we need to know is the testosterone. It is produced in the Leydig cells in testis and in the theca cells in ovary. 2% of the testosterone is free and 98% is bound to SHBG or albumin. Androstenedione is a weak prohormone for testosterone, which is a weak prohormone for potent dihydrotestosterone. The androgen receptors in the prostate are present in the prostate, the seminal vesicles, which cause stimulation of spermatogenesis, skin, the hair growth, sebum. Why are we talking about androgen receptors? Because we know that there are certain conditions where there is hair growth and the sebum, that is which causes acne. Brain feedback of the HP axis also androgen receptors are required, and other sex accessory tissues like internal external genitalia, secondary sexual characters, musculoskeletal system, all also contain the androgen receptors. We have already seen this. I'm not going to come to this again. Now let us talk about contraception. Contra means against or opposite, and conceptio means to conceive. Contraception means against conception. So definition of contraception is the intentional prevention of pregnancy through the use of various devices, agents, drugs, sexual practices, or surgical procedures. So anything that you use to against conception is called as contraception. So this is the definition. So who needs contraception? All the women who have not achieved menopause and are sexually active need contraception. So now a big article had come in 2010 in the Times magazine about the pill, that it is so small, so powerful, and so misunderstood. It is after this 2010 article that the oral contraceptive pills got a lot of importance and people started realizing and using it on a larger scale. If we go to the history, the first orally active synthetic steroidal estrogen was synthesized in 1938 by Hans Herluf and Walter. and Walter Hollweg. So that is how they synthesize ethinyl estradiol and mestranol. This was a very 1938. This was a big step towards the formation of the oral contraceptive pills. In 1950, Pincus and Garcia and Rock found progesterone and 19-norprogesterone to prevent ovulation in women. So what is an ideal contraceptive? An ideal contraceptive has to be 100% effective. It has to be very safe, totally reversible. When the patient wants contraception, it has to act like a contraception. And if she wants to conceive, it should be 100% reversible, acceptable, not very expensive, simple to use, and requires minimum motivation, supervision, and maintenance. Do we have something like an ideal contraceptive? No. As of today, we don't have. Now, what are the components of the combined oral contraceptive pills? The estrogen, which is ethinyl estradiol, which is the most common. Dose is 0.2 to 0.02 to 0.05 milligram, and mestranol. If you go to the progesterone component, all the 19-nortestosterone, there is a levonorgestrel, norethindrone, norgestimate, drospirenone, and if we want the less androgenic progesterone, the norgestimate, desogestrel, and the gestodine. These are the components of the oral contraceptive pills. Now, among the components of oral contraceptive pills, which is the main component? Is it estrogen or is it progesterone? The main component is the progesterone. The estrogen is just an addition to the other side effects, which or the breakthrough bleeding which is caused because of progesterone. The estrogen is only for prevention of that. That's why we have only progesterone only pills, but we don't have estrogen only pills. So because progesterone is a main component and estrogen is just an add-on for better action. Now, if we see the combined contraceptive pills, we have something called as the monophasic pills, the biphasic, the triphasic pills. So the monophasic pills are the same constant amount of estrogen, progesterone in each pill in one packet. So in India, we get it as Mala N, we get it as Mala D, which are available in all government hospitals and government setups, the Overalls, then we have the Femilon, the Loet, all of these are available in the Indian market. Now, if you see the estrogen level, when the ethinyl estradiol, when they started making oral contraceptive pills, overall had about 50 micrograms of estrogen. From there, we have gradually come down today to about 30 micrograms of estrogen. So we have reduced the amount of estrogen that is required to make the patient compliant in an oral contraceptive pills. So the side effects of estrogen can be eliminated. The progestin that is available is norgestrel, L or D or L-norgestrel, norethindrone, or even there are many other forms of progesterone that are available now. Now, what is this? WHO has come up with medical eligibility criteria as to who can use the contraception. So the category 1, that is, there is no restriction of use, that is from menarche to less than 40 years. So even adolescents can use oral contraceptive pills. Postpartum, after 21 days, post-abortion, even in case of endometriosis, fibroid, iron deficiency anemia, the WHO medical eligibility criteria is category 1. Category 2 is when benefit outweigh the risk, that is the patient's age over 40, if she has obesity, migraine, valvular heart disease, diabetes, and hyperlipidemias. Category 3, the risk outweigh the benefits. Cigarette smoking, postpartum less than 21 days, cholestatic jaundice, and hypertriglyceridemia. Category 4 is it should not be used like in stroke, hypertension, thrombotic pregnancy, thrombotic patients, suspected pregnancy, breast cancer, and hypersensitivity to any component of the pill. Now, when can we start the patient on combined oral contraceptive pills? The first pill is to be taken. They used to normally give it on the 5th day after the starting of menses. Thereafter, one pill is to be taken consecutively for 21 days. After this 21 days, the next 7 days are pill-free period, and the next course starts on the 5th day of the period. But nowadays, we are starting pills on the 2nd day of the period, and then we are giving it for 21 days, and 7-day pill-free period is taken. This is because they feel that the follicular recruitment already occurs from the day 2 of the period. Therefore, unless you start oral contraceptives on the day 2 of the period, there can be an escape and you can have 1 or 2 follicles which are developing. There are a lot of types of contraceptives, newer continuous dosing or continuous use oral contraceptive like seasonal, which you have to take for 90 days, or Librel, which is like 365 days, once a year periods to reduce or eliminate the monthly periods and thereby prevent the pain and discomfort that accompany menstruation. But all these oral contraceptives contain a combination of a small dose of estradiol and a levonorgestrel. Now, seasonal and seasnic, these are available in these two names. It got approved in US FDA in 2003. It contains 81 days of active pills followed by 7 days of inactive pills. Women who take seasonals have on average a period of every 3 months, and seasnic has 84 days of levonorgestrel estradiol pills followed by 7 days of pills that contain only low dose estradiol. Now, Librel was approved by FDA, US FDA in 2007. It supplies a daily low dose of levonorgestrel and estradiol, and it's taken 365 days a year, and it completely eliminates the monthly menstrual period, and the patient gets menses only once a year. Now, what is the role of the estrogen in the pill? Like I told you, progesterone is the main component in the oral contraceptive pill. What is the role of estrogen in the pill? It is to provide stability to the endometrium, to minimize the irregular shedding and the unwanted breakthrough bleeding, and potentiates the action of the progestational agent. Whatever progesterone is being given, estrogen potentiates the action of the progesterone, prevents the irregular shedding and bleeding, and provides stability to the endometrium and the unwanted breakthrough bleeding that happens. The progesterone in the pill is a main component of the pill, and it thickens the cervical mucus, prevents the passage of the sperm into the uterus, changes the uterine lining from the proliferative to secretory, and alters secretion and peristalsis within the fallopian tubes. This is the main function of the progesterone in the pill. Now, there are a lot of adverse effects of the pills, like if there can be estrogen excess effects or there can be progesterone excess effects. Estrogen related side effects or adverse effects are like breast tenderness, nausea, vomiting. Hence, oral contraceptive pills are preferably given at bedtime with a glass of milk. There can be cloasma, lactation suppression if the patient is feeding. Therefore, in such cases, progesterone only pills are advocated. The estrogen component suppresses the lactation, headaches, gallstones, hypertension, arterial and venous thrombosis. It is this side effect of estrogen that makes it very, very difficult. The arterial and venous thrombosis are because of the estrogen component, and the glucose intolerance when they take it for a long period of time, the patient can develop glucose intolerance. The progesterone excess are like breast engorgement, acne, because it has gotten some component of the testosterone, so it will act like acne, oily skin, hirsutism, weight gain, mood swings, increase LDL and decrease HDL. These are all the side effects of the progesterone in the OC pills. What are the adverse effects? When we talk about the adverse effects of the oral contraceptive pills, they can be mild, moderate, or severe. If it is severe anaphylactic reaction, they require complete cessation of therapy. The mild effects are like nausea, breast tenderness, sometimes breakthrough bleeding. Then we have to give the oral contraceptive pills twice a day, or we have to change from Obral L to Obral G, which has got a slightly more amount of estrogen in it. Headache is often mild and transient. If the patient is known to have migraine, then the onset of migraine can also be associated with cerebrovascular accidents. Failure of withdrawal bleeding can happen. This can change in the preparation of the method of contraception. These are all mild side effects. If we continue, the patient is asked to continue it, these side effects can probably disappear. Moderate effects could require discontinuation of the therapy. There can be breakthrough bleeding. There can be lipid changes in serum lipids. When the estrogen is increased, there can be increased HDL, then reduced LDL. There can be some amount of weight gain, skin pigmentation and hirsutism with androgenic progesterone, acne. Patient gets very upset with acne, vaginal infections because they change the flora of the vagina, the estrogen and progesterone, and they can go into pill-induced amenorrhea. So these are the moderate side effects, and we have to discontinue the therapy. The severe effects are very irreversible, like vascular effects, venous thrombosis, pulmonary embolism, hypertension, myocardial infarction, cerebrovascular disease, depression, gastrointestinal disorders, and others like alopecia, erythema multiforme, erythema nodosum. Now, there are some medications we have to remember that interfere with the oral contraceptive pills. So, if we are giving patients oral contraceptive pills along with these medications, we have to alter the dose of medications, and and we have to give oral contraceptive pills with higher dose of estrogen. The anticonvulsants like barbiturates, carbamazepine, felbamate, phenobarbital, phenytoin, primidone, all these have when we are giving with oral contraceptive pills, we have to see to it that the dose of the anticonvulsant is also increased, as well as we give a higher dose of estrogen in the oral contraceptive pills. Antifungal, anti-tuberculosis treatment, antibiotics like ampicillin, amoxicillin, nitrofurantoin, metronidazole also affect the oral contraceptive pills. Quinolones, tetracyclines, all these interfere with the action of the oral contraceptive pills, and they affect the liver. Now the oral contraceptive pills nowadays we are getting with drospirenone. From 2011 we are getting with drospirenone. That's an analog of spironolactone. It gives a very good cycle control. The progesterogenic activity suppresses the LH. Anti-androgenic activity is beneficial in acne, seborrhea, and hirsutism. So if there are patients of PCOD, often the question is whether we should give sapropterin acetate or whether we give spironolactone. So if you want good cycle control, if you want her to get proper withdrawal period, and you want an anti-androgenic activity like acne, seborrhea or hirsutism, we can start the patient on the oral contraceptive pills with the drospirenone. Sapropterin acetate came later in 2030. It's a progestin with weak androgenic property. Therefore, it is useful in polycystic ovary only for getting cycle control. But if patient has got hirsutism and acne, then we prefer drospirenone. Sapropterin acetate was initially for weight loss or weight prevention of weight gain. It was used. Therefore, this can be given in obese patients who for cycle control. And now the progesterone only pills. There are lots of brands which are available. Levonorgestrel 30 micrograms is available. Norethistone 350 micrograms. Norgestrel 75 micrograms containing or desogestrel 75. This is Cerazette is available. But the problem with progesterone only pills is that they have if they are taken at a particular time, they have to be taken at the same time every day. Like if they are taking it at 8 o'clock in the evening, they have to take 8 o'clock every evening. Even half an hour here and there, it may not act. And this is a very good candidate for breastfeeding women, as well as the elderly perimenopausal women who are like about 45 and who need progesterone for cycle control or for withdrawal bleeding or for menorrhagia. Then you can give progesterone only pills to these patients. So there are two indications for POPs. One is breastfeeding women, and one is either for contraception, cycle control, or treatment of menorrhagia in the elderly age group, that is after 45 years, where estrogen is contraindicated. Now, progesterone only mini pills contain a lower dose of progesterone than oral contraceptive pills. How do they act? They thin the endometrium, they thicken the cervical mucus, they slow the ovum transport by altering the tubal motility, and they inhibit the ovulation. Absolute contraindication is we must not give in pregnant patients as well as breast cancer. The most common problem or adverse effect is unpredictable spotting and breakthrough bleeding. We all know that with Mirena or with DMPA or when progesterone only mini pills is given, the most common side effect is unpredictable spotting and breakthrough bleeding. To prevent this particular troublesome side effect, a little bit of estrogen is added in the oral contraceptive pills. Now, there are other non-hormonal contraception that are available. That is the ormeloxifene, or it is a SERM, non-steroidal, for once per week 30 milligrams. The first 3 months we give 2 pills per week, and later on followed by once per week. Also used for treatment of DUB. It is called as Seheli, Centron, Cevista, Novex DS. These are the trade names that they are available. How do they act? They have got asynchronization between ovulation and development of uterine lining. So when the embryo comes for implantation, the uterine lining is not ready for implantation, it speeds the transport of the eggs through the fallopian tube, and therefore the implantation is not possible. So this is a Saheli, this is a non-hormonal oral contraception. Now, when we give a oral contraception to a patient, what do you expect? We have to ensure the sexual freedom, advance happiness, fewer unwed pregnancies, fewer abortions, and in short, we are trying to control the overpopulation. Now, what happens in the US? This data is from the US. Women in the 15 to 44-year age group who have ever used contraception, 98% of women in the US from the age of 15 to 44 have used some form of contraception. 82% have used the pill, 92% have used the condom, 17% use Depo-Provera, and 21% use female sterilization. So you can see that the oral contraceptive pills are very, very popular in the United States. Sadly, the same cannot be said about India. We, tend to rely more on the female sterilization when the family is completed, or the condom, and we don't use oral contraceptive pills that much. Now, when combined oral contraceptive pills, the progesterone imitates the progesterone increase in pregnancy. Like in pregnancy, where there are high levels of progesterone, whatever progesterone is there in the oral contraceptive pills, it imitates that, and therefore there is inhibition of ovulation by suppressing FSH and LH, and alteration of the endometrium from the proliferative to secretory phase. It makes it unsuitable for implantation even if the ovum is fertilized, and there is also changes in the cervical mucus which make it hostile for the sperm. Now, this is the effect of Novelon on the FSH and LH. Now, if you see this is the control cycle. That is, this is in a patient who has not taken Novelon. This is the first cycle of Novelon. This red thing is the FSH and the yellow thing is the LH. You can see that the surge is prevented and the FSH LH level is reducing. And once post treatment, the FSH LH levels again rise. This is the reason why in some infertility patients we give oral contraceptive pills for 2 to 3 cycles and then stop treatment. Patient spontaneously conceives the next cycle because the FSH and LH in that cycle are very high. Has anybody thought, when a patient is on oral contraceptive pills, what is the level of FSH in those patients? The level of FSH will be either normal or will be slightly below normal. This is the effect of Novelon on the serum estradiol levels of progesterone and on the progesterone and estrogen. Now, in the control, when patient is not given oral contraceptive pills, this is the estradiol level which goes up, then the ovulation, the LH happens, peak happens, and then the ovulation occurs. Whereas in a patient who is taking Novelon, the estrogen and progesterone levels are very less. And post treatment, similar to the control, or for that matter little more also, there is levels of estrogen and progesterone. Now, what about return of fertility after hormonal contraception? After contraceptive pills, immediately after stopping, patient can conceive. In fact, many patients conceive spontaneously immediately after stopping the hormonal contraception because the levels of FSH, LH and estrogen are high. And 1 to 3 monthly injections, 1 to 6 months it takes after the last injection, and implants it takes anywhere between 1 and 3 months after removal. Now, if we go to the history of the development of hormonal contraception, they started with 150 milligram of mestranol and 50 microgram of ethinyl estradiol. From that, the next pill, they reduced the level of estrogen to 35 microgram. Then came 30 microgram pills, and low-dose pills are 20 microgram. And now 10 to 15 microgram also they tried, and because it causes a lot of breakthrough bleedings, they have further gone to another preparation with 25 microgram of ethinyl estradiol. And among the progesterones that are tried, norethisterone, linestrol, levonorgestrel, norgestimate, desogestrel gestone, and drospirenone. These are the other progesterone hormones that, and various combinations have been tried between 30 micrograms of ethinyl estradiol, 20 micrograms of ethinyl estradiol, and these all hormones like norethisterone, levonorgestrel, norgestimate, and drospirenone. Now, all steroids, the selectivity of contraceptive steroids. All steroids have some affinity for all steroid receptors. Estrogen also has got some amount of affinity for progesterone receptors, whereas progesterone also has got some affinity for estrogen receptors. Progestogens should have high affinity for progesterone receptors. Estrogens should have high affinity for estrogen receptors, and both should have low affinity for androgen receptors. This is how we select the estrogen and the progesterone that are required in the oral contraceptive pills. Now, the high progestogenic activity and low androgenic activity, that is the highest selectivity of the progesterone that is required for the oral contraceptive pill. So we have to select that progesterone which has got high progestogenic activity and the lowest androgenic activity. Now, what about for contraceptive failure? If we see the first year contraceptive failure, the combined oral contraceptive pills is 8.7 failure, whereas with perfect use, it is 0.3. Okay, so we have to remember that if the patient forgets to take a pill, or their pill is started slightly late, instead of 5th day, if she starts on the 6th day of the cycle, there are reasons pill can fail. So just because a patient is on oral contraceptive pill, we cannot be rest assured that she cannot be pregnant. If she does miss a period or she doesn't get period, we have to rule out pregnancy, because pregnancies have occurred in spite of taking the oral contraceptive pills. Now, contraceptive failures of all women using the pill for 1 year, somewhere around 8% will experience a pregnancy. Between 14 to 15% of women will use condom, will become pregnant within a year. Now, we have to remember that the contraceptive failures require sometimes additional contraception, and we may have to even give them dual contraception. Teens are doing better with the newer oral contraceptive pills, and more than pills, even the rings that are come, or the patches, or the other form, the DMPA, the Mirena, they are very good at taking this, and teenagers are taking contraception much better. So what contraception will you give for newly married girls? Newly married girls, oral contraceptive pills are very safe and very popular contraceptive. The 4th generation oral contraceptive pills are available in India, where there is no weight gain. This takes care of acne, and BP is also not aggravated. A little bit about emergency contraception. Levonorgestrel pill is available widely, over the counter it is available. Single tablet has to be used within 72 hours of unprotected coitus, and it is effective to the tune of 90%. Every woman and adolescent girl should. However, emergency contraception cannot replace regular contraceptive for people who are sexually active. We have got patients who come and ask us, how many ECs, emergency contraceptive pills, can I take? Emergency contraception can be taken only once in a lifetime. If the patient requires emergency contraception, then she has to follow it up with subsequent oral contraceptive pills or some other form of contraception. Depending on when she takes the emergency contraception, her cycle will get altered. If the EC is taken during the first 14 days of the cycle, that is during the proliferative phase, what will happen is that she will get a withdrawal bleeding. If it is taken during the if it is taken during the secretory phase, that is the second half of the cycle, the cycle will get very prolonged because of the high dose of progesterone. So we have to remember that emergency contraception vis-a-vis the period will behave depending on when she has taken the emergency contraception. Now, when to start using certain specific contraceptive methods? They say that whenever any patient approaches you for contraception, we must never refuse them. They may not come back to you again and may come back with a pregnancy. Therefore, they say even oral contraceptives, start it any day. And if it is more than 5 days of periods are started, give a backup method or ask them to abstain for 7 days. And a blood pressure measurement is recommended once in a while, every 3 months or every 6 months, in a patient who is taking combined oral contraceptive pill. However, if the patient is taking only progestin only pill, then after 5 days of menses, if she starts, then we have to give a backup method or abstain for 2 days, and there is no need to even measure the blood pressure in these patients. Now, dual protection is very, very important, as combined oral contraceptive pills does not protect against sexually transmitted diseases and HIV. If the risk exists, then we have to recommend using condoms along with oral contraceptive pills for all sexually active adolescent, regardless of whether an additional method of contraception is used or not. Now the US medical eligibility criteria for contraceptive use, they have come up with 2010 with use, in which they say the same thing like the WHO. They say that the condition for which no restriction of use is one. In two, there are advantages which generally outweigh the theoretical or proven risk. In three, condition where theoretical or proven risk usually outweigh the advantages. And four is unacceptable health risk for the contraceptive method. So summary of age, if you can say, the combined oral contraceptives, the patch or the ring, in less than 40 years, the MEC 1, therefore we can use it very comfortably. More than 40 years, it goes into MEC 2. The progesterone only pills for all ages, it is an MEC 1 and therefore can be safely used for all patients. Now, postpartum hormonal contraception, what do? We give progestin only methods that come in MEC1, and we can conveniently use it for all patients who need contraception after delivery. Now, to summarize, most women of any age can start oral contraceptive methods anytime in the cycle. If she's starting it later than 5 days, she has to have an additional protection. Few, if any, exams or tests are needed. Anticipatory counseling for potential bleeding problems and proper management is required. Sometimes with the low dose oral contraceptive pills, that is when 20 micrograms of estrogen is there, they tend to have spotting or breakthrough bleeding. For these patients, we need to start them with a higher dose of estrogen initially for 1 or 2 cycles, and then when they stabilize, their estrogen can be reduced. Routine follow-up generally is not required. We have to discuss emergency contraception often with these patients, and regular contraception should be started after emergency contraception. So we have already seen that there are 4 types of oral contraceptives: the combined pills, the phased pills, the progesterone only pills, or the emergency and the post-coital pills. The combined pills are the most widely used. We have seen all this. The commonly used progesterone or norethindrone, levonorgestrel, and the norgestrel. The commonly used estrogen is ethinyl estradiol. The third generation progesterone, that is desogestrel, gestodine, norgestimate, they are very lipid friendly, increase HDL and reduce atherogenic risk. The phased pills. Now, I wanted to talk about the biphasic and the triphasic pills. The monophasic pills we already saw. There is a fixed amount of estrogen and progesterone in each pill. The biphasic pill, estrogen is kept constant, but progesterone varies according to the phase of the menstrual cycle. In the first phase, there is less of progesterone. In the second phase, there is more of progesterone. In the triphasic pill, the estrogen is increased in mid-cycle and progesterone increases in 3 successive phases of the cycle. In biphasic, there are 2 doses of progesterone. In triphasic, there are 3 doses of progesterone, but estrogen is also increased in the mid-cycle. So these are the 3 types of pills that are available in the market. The estrogen content anywhere between 20 to 50 microgram are available. The progesterone content 0.515 to 1 milligram, and if estrogen is less than 35 microgram, they are called as a low dose pills. So if we talk about the monophasic pills, which contains ethinyl estradiol and norethindrone 1, then the biphasic pills, then the triphasic, wherein the estrogen, there is slight increase in estrogen in the middle phase and progesterone goes on successively increasing. One tablet has to be taken from day 2 of bleeding to about 21 days, followed by a 7-day gap. Now the progesterone only pills, we have to take 1 tablet daily without gap. They can cause menstrual irregularity, and there is a slight chance of increase in incidence of ectopic pregnancy. They contain very low dose of progestin pills, norethindrone or norgestrel. Then the post-coital, I wanted to discuss about the role of ulipristal and mifepristone also. Ulipristal, single dose, 30 milligrams, given within 120 hours of intercourse, can be used as a postcoital pill, and mifepristone, 600 milligrams, single dose within 72 hours of intercourse, has also been used as a postcoital pill. The mechanism of action is they directly act on the genital tract and prevent the implantation. So the emergency contraceptive pills. The other mechanism is they thicken the cervical mucus, they make the endometrium unfavorable, cause uterine and tubal contraception, and the postcoital pills dislodge also a just implanted blastocyst. So what are the indications of oral contraceptive pills? Of course, the main indication is contraception to avoid unwanted pregnancy, but they can also be used in dysmenorrhea and premenstrual tension. It prevents anemia by reducing blood loss. It reduces the incidence of pelvic inflammatory disease because it thickens the cervical mucus. It prevents ovarian and endometrial carcinoma because there are because it prevents ovulation, and it prevents the overgrowth of the endometrium, and it also reduces benign breast tumors and the ovarian cyst. The contraindication we have already seen are thromboembolic coronary cerebrovascular disease, hyperlipidemia, hepatoma, jaundice, porphyria, diabetes, smoking, really contraindicated. This history of smoking we have to take, especially in the urban population. Smoking cigarettes and using pill will increase the risk of side effects. Please take history of smoking before you prescribe oral contraceptive pills to adolescent girls. Adverse effects we already saw: genital carcinoma, gallstones, chloasma, weight gain, headache, nausea, vomiting. And then we saw the severe ones also: the blood clots, the kidney stones, pulmonary embolism, the gallbladder problems. Now, what about the androgenicity of the Femilon and the Novelon? If you see, they alter the SHBG, and because they increase the SHBG, there is more binding of the free testosterone to the SHBG. Therefore, the androgenic effects like hirsutism and acne get treated or cured with the oral contraceptive pills. Now, what is acne? There is follicular plugging, there is extension of follicle with sebum, there is comedone rupture, inflammation, and it causes an inflammatory cascade. And this goes on and on and on because of excess androgen in the body. There is increased sebum protection. So if the SHBG increases, the free testosterone reduces, and therefore the sebum production reduces. Estrogen increase causes SHBG increase, and therefore the sebum production goes down. This is the role of oral contraceptive pills in reducing the acne. Now, the changes in the plasma proteins and free testosterone, which are induced by combined oral contraceptive pills, the SHBG is increased by estrogen, and therefore the free testosterone is reduced. Whereas, if the progesterones, there are some progesterones which have got androgens. Now, if we use such progesterones, then free testosterone is increased, and then in these patients, it cannot be used to treat acne and hirsutism. So we see that with use of oral contraceptive pills, SHBG is increased, therefore the free testosterone goes down. And then there are a lot of studies which have compared the Novelon and the desogestrel versus cyproterone acetate also. That one which is better, cyproterone acetate, was initially used to prevent weight gain. Now they saw that it can also be used for contraception. Now, cyproterone acetate has got good effect on acne also, but drospirenol is even better for acne. So what is the treatment of hirsutism? We can use spironolactone, we can use cyproterone acetate containing oral contraceptive pills, finasteride, metformin, flutamide, and combined oral contraceptive hormones, which with low side effects and which has got the other benefits also. So for hirsutism also we can use oral contraceptive hormones. So these are some of the charts which show the changes in the androgenic parameters in women who are treated with ethinyl estradiol, and we can see that all of them have a very good effect on the hirsutism. Now, what about weight, hormones, and weight? When there is SHBG is low, abdominal fat increases, glucose intolerance increases, insulin resistance increases, and cardiovascular disease increases, type 2 diabetes increases, and HDL increases. That is why they say in menopausal women where there is no estrogen or where there is less estrogen, we see all these. Abdominal fat is more, they start gaining weight around the abdomen, glucose intolerance, they become diabetic, insulin resistance happens, cardiovascular diseases comes in, type 2 diabetes comes in. So therefore, when we add a little estrogen of oral contraceptive pills or HRT, actually, then the SHBG increases, and then all these are reversed. So in abdominal adiposity, testosterone also increases and SHBG further decreases, and more abdominal fat, etc. And then this goes on and on and on. Therefore, with high SHBG, there is less adiposity and low cardiovascular risk. So the combined oral contraceptives and body weight, do oral contraceptives actually cause weight gain? They did a study in a primate in 2011, and their normal weight monkey and an obese rhesus monkey, they studied with the use of oral contraceptive pill, and then they saw that overall oral contraceptive use appears to cause a slight increase in basal metabolic rate in the female monkey. It could lead to decrease in body weight and percentage of body weight in obese individuals. Therefore, there is no significant difference in weight gain with oral contraception versus the non-hormonal contraceptives. So they saw the effect on the body weight is not much. There could be minimal or slight weight gain, but which can be reversed with the day-to-day activities, or if she just does little bit exercise, or the others. Now, randomized control study combining 20 milligrams of ethinyl estradiol, they saw that there was no change in the body weight. Did not show, 3 trials with a dummy did not show that these contraceptive pills or patches led to any weight gain. Now, what happens to the lipids, the sex hormones and the lipids? Estrogen causes increased HDL and reduction in LDL. Progesterone has got the reverse effect. It reduces the HDL and increases the LDL. Therefore, if we use a progesterone with a very good without any androgenic activity, or with very high selectivity, or with low androgenicity, we can have a good effect on the HDL cholesterol. Now, what about the increased risk of breast cancer? They say that if there is no use of any use of oral contraceptive, your odds ratio of getting cancer breast is 1. Then any use of oral contraceptive actually lowers, makes it 0.9. If the patient is using oral contraceptive pills, then this is the same as not use, that is 1. And if there is former use, then it is 0.9. The whole idea is to reduce the estrogen dose. The low estrogen dose actually is very good because it does not increase the risk of breast cancer. So there is no added risk of breast cancer associated with combined oral contraceptive pills. Any excess risk of breast cancer associated with combined oral contraceptives occurs quickly after starting and does not increase with duration of use, and is ameliorated within 10 years of stopping of combined oral contraceptives. So if the breast cancer is because of the oral contraceptives, it will come immediately on starting and not after 10 years. Therefore, we have to remember that there could be other reason for breast cancer in that particular patient also. There are a lot of benefits of oral contraceptive pills, like prevention of pregnancy. Like when they prevent pregnancy itself, they also offer protection against ectopic pregnancy, menstrual cycle stabilization, reduce iron deficiency anemia due to lighter menstrual cycles, more regular menstrual cycles, less dysmenorrhea, and less severe premenstrual symptoms. Protection from endometrial cancer, ovarian cancer, protection from benign breast diseases like fibrocystic breast and fibroadenomatosis. It decreases by 50 to 70%. Other possible health effects are protection against pelvic inflammatory diseases. It reduces risk of follicular cysts by 50% and corpus luteal cyst by 80%, the ovarian cyst. Post-contraceptive use protects women after they reach menopause with reduced bone mineral density, and there is reduction in acne. So there are various other non-contraceptive health benefits of using the oral contraceptive pill. Now, what about forgotten pills? Suppose a patient is forgotten to take pill. So what do we tell the patient? Take a pill as soon as you remember and take the next pill at the usual time. And we have to keep taking the pills as usual, 1 each day. Now, what if she started pack 2 or 3 days? Either have avoid sex or use additional method for 7 days. If miss 2 or more of the first 7 active pills, avoid sex or use additional pills for additional method for the next 7 days. If you have missed 5 or more of the first 7 active pills, we have to just stop it so that she gets period and then start a new pack. Okay, and if miss 2 or 4 in the last phase of the 21 pills, then finish all the active pills. They will inadvertently have some spotting, so complete the whole packet, wait for the period, and then start a fresh packet. If missed any of the inactive pills, either she can throw away the missed pills, continue with the inactive pills, or start the new pack at the usual day. So that is the end of my lecture, and if you have any questions, I will be happy to take.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. And the chat box is fully flooded with the questions, ma'am.
Okay,
Shall we
now
start?
can I start from down? Yeah, tell me.
Yes. Ma'am, effect of OCs on
From
cervical cancer.
there is no effect of OC on cervical cancer. They are unrelated. Oral contraceptive pills alters the cervical mucus, and cervical cancer is caused, because of the what is it caused? It is caused because of an infection. So this is not actually related. There is no effect of oral contraceptive pills on cervical cancer.
Yes, ma'am. What age OC pills can be started and stopped?
OC pills can be started as early as 14 years of age, and you can continue it to till even if she till menopause. You can give for other period cycle regulation, and for anything we can give. After 40 years, we need to reduce the amount of estrogen in the pills. That is all.
Okay. And if bleeding starts after 2 days of stopping the pill, then
Hmm.
also we have to continue the pill free 7 days. Pill free 7 days.
Yeah, pill free 7 days. 5 days pill free. Total 7 days. Normally, within 48 hours of stopping estrogen progesterone, you get a withdrawal bleeding. So, period, it takes 2 days to get periods, and then 5 days of period. On the fifth day of the period, we start. So, pill free period will be 7 days.
Okay, ma'am. Thrombosis also with third generation progesterone.
Yes, unfortunately, and it is becoming a big problem in India. Lots of young girls with smoking, they are developing deep vein thrombosis, pulmonary embolism, very, very common.
Why POP is contraindicated in pregnancy?
Because it is progesterone and it is not natural progesterone, no, it is a synthetic progesterone. It could have androgenic effects on the fetus.
Ma'am, can you show the again with the ma'am, can you show again what all medicines interact with OCPs? Slide they are asking. Ma'am,
Achha, you want that
ormeloxifene
slide?
causes
Okay, I'll display it then.
yes, ormeloxifene causes endometrial thickness increase or decrease.
Or ormeloxifene has got a pro-estrogenic effect on certain tissues and anti-estrogenic effect because it is a SERM. Okay, so it has got anti-estrogenic effect on the uterus. It has got anti-estrogenic effect, so it causes thinning of the endometrium. On the vagina, it has got pro-estrogenic effect, so therefore there is no drying of the vaginal secretions, no dyspareunia, and all that. So that we have to remember. It is beneficial. It does not cause dyspareunia or alter sex, or like oral contraceptive pills change the vaginal flora. They can cause vaginal infection, dryness. Ormeloxifene doesn't cause, but it is anti-estrogenic on the uterus. It's selectively estrogenic on some tissues and selectively anti-estrogenic on other tissues. That is the advantage of SERM.
Ma'am, is there any effect on length or regularity of OC menstrual cycle after stopping the pill?
No, should not be. No, you should get 28-day cycle, normal cycle. No,
Yes.
on the
Ma'am,
14th day ovulation should occur. 14 days after ovulation you should get cycle,
right.
so you should get it on 28th days after the stopping.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, fourth generation pills brand name, please.
Brand name, Minnes is one. Wyeth का है, Minnes करके है.
Yes,
that
meaning.
is that is one, and there is one more is there. I'm not remembering. Minnes is one, and There is, in fact, one oral contraceptive pills in which they have added folic acid also.
Okay.
There is one brand in which they have already added folic acid also. One oral contraceptive pill is coming. That is with a very low dose and a fourth generation progesterone.
Okay, ma'am. Protective or contraceptive effect of emergency contraceptive. I'm not
It is
getting.
good. If within taken 72 hours, it is very good. But it
Emergency.
is immediately within 72 hours it is taken, it is very good. That's what I said. It depends when the patient takes it. If she takes it in the proliferative phase, then she will immediately get withdrawal bleeding. And if she takes it in the secretory phase, it will get prolonged. So she will get go into amenorrhea. And eventually it is a high dose of progesterone, so there will be breakthrough bleeding. She will come with spotting, or she will say that I'm bleeding every day, like how what happens when you put a Mirena. When there is prolonged progesterone effect like that, it will happen. Or eventually they can go into amenorrhea also. But we have to counsel patients. They can take emergency contraception only once in their lifetime. They can't keep. There are patients who take it twice, thrice, 4 times a month also. They think it is some alternative to oral contraceptive pills.
And that is the second question. Why emergency contraception is recommended only one time in lifetime?
Because it is very high dose of progesterone, and it will completely throw your HPO axis out of gear, and it will take 3 to 6 months for the entire thing to regularize. And if you take so much high progesterone, there will be complete GnRH भी, LFSH, LH सब कुछ कम हो जाएगा, and then the cycle regularization रहेगा ही नहीं. Instead give OCs, no, so she'll get contraception as well as proper cycle regularization.
How many
Why
times?
why progesterone only pills taken on the same time every day? Somebody else. Where are you actually? I cannot see. Which question are you in?
How many, ma'am? I'm above. I'm taking
Hmm.
previous questions. How
Okay,
many
tell me.
years women take OC pills safely?
How many years?
Yes.
There are people who take about 3 years, 4 years also safely.
Ma'am, 4 phase is available. Phase 4 is
What is available?
phase 4 OC pills.
Yeah, available. I told you, na. Minnes is one.
What are the conditions we take phasic pills?
Acha, you want to take, when you want to take phasic pills, there are certain, when you have to give a high dose of estrogen at particular cycle, then you give, phasic pills. Like if there is a patient who is very obese and you feel low dose estrogen is not going to be effective, and she has menorrhagia and she wants to get medically controlled only, then we can start these biphasic and triphasic pills, where there, the levels of estrogen and progesterone are altered and goes on increasing.
Which is better, 21 days, 23, 24, or 28 days pills?
See, 21 days cycles are very good. 21-day pills are very good. The problem with 24-day pills are that you take these pills for a longer period. Totally effectively, the amount of estrogen and progesterone becomes the same in these both the cycles. Only thing is the low dose of progesterone, the estrogen can cause breakthrough bleeding and a lot of other problems. But most of our patients are accepting the 21-day pills very well.
Okay, ma'am, difference between contraception and interception.
Achha. Contraception is like, interception is preventing implantation, like copper T. Copper T is an interceptive. It is not ideally a contraceptive. Contraception is preventing the fusion of the sperm and ovum, like what oral contraceptive pills, prevention of ovulation or prevention of the fusion of the sperm and ovum. Whereas interceptive is prevention of implantation. And that is like a copper T. Copper T is an interceptive, whereas oral contraceptive pills are contraceptives.
Okay, ma'am. In AUB-O and E, how to decide whether to start continuous progesterone or cyclic progesterone?
AUB-O, okay, and AUB-E, okay. How to decide whether to start a continuous progesterone or
cyclic progesterone?
Okay. Whether it is AUB-O or whether it is AUB-E, it depends on how the patient is responding. Sometimes patient have as much as 20 millimeters of endometrial thickness, but they don't have any bleeding, spotting, intermenstrual bleeding. They, and they can only have menorrhagia at the time of periods. But there are patients who have 7 to 8 millimeters endometrium also, and they keep on bleeding intermittently. So it is not exactly, it doesn't depend on whether it is AUBO or AUBE, it is how patient responds. What I like to do is for 3 cycles, I give them continuous progesterone, and then I see how they respond. And if they respond very well, then I reduce the dose of progesterone subsequently.
Okay. What are active and inactive pills?
The active pills are the estrogen progesterone pills. The inactive pills are the iron pills that are kept. The 7 days, the red color pills, iron tablets that are given, those are called inactive pills.
How much can we take? That is again that question.
How much can we take means they are 7 days only, no?
Benefit of YAS 24 over 21 days POC combined.
That is what I said. The YAS 24 is like they give they are trying to reduce the amount of estrogen totally, basically. It is a very low dose pills. So that is why they are trying to reduce the amount of estrogen. But then if they have reduced the amount of estrogen, and they cannot give it 21 days, so they have to give it for a longer time, and that's why they are giving it for 24 days. It depends upon the patient. Some patients accept 21 days very well, some patients accept 24 days very well. It is up to you and for what purpose you are giving. For contraception, you can use either, but if there is some non-contraceptive use like for ovarian cyst or for menorrhagia, then you better give 21-day cycle with a slightly higher dose of estrogen and progesterone.
Treatment for post-pill amenorrhea.
Very good. Very good question. What will you do when the patient has got post-pill amenorrhea? You will have to wait for some time for the FSH and the LH levels to stabilize, and then give her only progesterone withdrawal. Many a time when there is little bit of normal estrogen also in the body, progesterone will give withdrawal.
Okay. Ma'am, what if pregnancy occurs while taking OC pills? Is it safe to continue pregnancy?
Yes, we can continue. No need for termination.
Mirena in perimenopausal women, for how many years can you use?
5, 10, whatever years you want. In fact, I use Mirena for contraception also. So many of my patients are using Mirena right from 30 years of age till we keep on changing, every 6 years or something. And I have used in certain patients 2 Mirena because they need lot of progesterone. So 2 Mirena have inserted at one time also. We can use Mirena for however long we want. And if patient is accepting, then there is no problem.
And why POP to be taken at exact time every day?
Yeah, because the action is like that. If the window period, that is very small. If we don't take it at the same time every day, the action will be lost, and patient will start spotting on it.
Is it that emergency contraceptive levonorgestrel is only effective pre-ovulation?
No, even post ovulation it is effective. That's what I told you. Either she could be in the proliferative phase or she could be in the secretory phase. It is effective even in the post ovulatory period. They say that it even expels of embryo, fully formed embryo also it can expel. That is the amount of the tubal motility it causes, the high dose progesterone.
Ma'am, please brief us about rings, patches and DMPA.
Yeah, but I was specifically told that I am not going to there is some other lecture on injectable for you.
Yes, ma'am. What is ideal long-term contraception for nullipara, primipara?
They are accepting copper T also, even for nullipara and primipara. Copper T nowadays 10 years or 12 years we can use it. Yes. That is very good and ideal also.
What is ideal contraception for SLE, systemic lupus erythematosus?
What age? Does she need contraception? Condoms.
Treatment for breakthrough bleeding in Mirena.
Okay, very good question. If there is breakthrough bleeding in Mirena, what will you do? Add a little estrogen. So for 1 or 2 cycles, give her low dose OC pills. So a little bit more progesterone will be there, but estrogen will stabilize the endometrium. After that, if you stop the OC pills, the endometrium gets stabilized. The other thing what I like to do with Mirena is, along with Mirena, sometimes I start them on ormeloxifene. So that also is very good because ormeloxifene induced amenorrhea and Mirena induced amenorrhea, that spotting is taken care of by giving ormeloxifene. We give 60 milligram twice a week for 3 months and then once a week for the next 3 months. By 6 months, the Mirena induced spotting would have totally stopped and patient would have gone into amenorrhea.
Ideal contraception of several medical disorders like diabetes mellitus, cardiac diseases.
Diabetes mellitus, if it is very well controlled, you can use copper T, or even in the elderly age group, like if she's 45 onwards, you can give progesterone only pills. Cardiac, mm, maybe, you know, if she's well controlled, you can give her the progesterone only pills, or even the latest fourth generation oral contraceptive pills.
I have taken progesterone
Hmm.
for withdrawal and patient conceived in same cycle. Should we terminate?
No, in fact, I tell patients when they come with amenorrhea, I tell them that I'm giving you tablets. You might ovulate on the last day of progesterone. Please have relations when you're taking the tablet. So you will conceive on the last day of some, why do we have to wait for 15 days after giving progesterone for withdrawal? Because patients can ovulate on the last day of the progesterone. Then we have to wait for 14 days for withdrawal to occur, no? So patients can conceive while they are being given progesterone for regularization of the cycle. So I tell patients also to have relation on all the 5 days that they take progesterone, so she can conceive during that cycle.
What is the maximum time we can take OC pills? Can it be prescribed for entire reproductive period, 15 to 45 years?
See, we don't have data for giving it like for the entire reproductive period, because then they become pregnant or they, you know, stop it in between. But they can be taken for 3 to 5 years continuously, definitely.
When progestogens are used for withdrawal, still then they are to be given at the same time of the
No, nothing like that, because we are giving a higher dose. No, we are giving 10 milligrams.
Ma'am, they want to explain you the missed pill again.
Missed pill again.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
the last question.
Last question, no?
Yeah, and male contraception.
Male contraception, I think somebody might take, no, for lecture for you.
Yes, ma'am.
I was told specifically on oral contraception. Emergency is both, yes, contraceptive as well as interceptive, correct. Now I'm sharing screen. Okay, they wanted that one. This is they wanted, no? Medications interfering with oral contraceptive pills.
Yes, one slide, this one. And
this? Yeah.
Yes. Anticonvulsant.
Okay, that person has written.
Yes, ma'am.
Antifungals, antituberculous, anticonvulsants, and antibiotics.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then we have to go to missed pills.
Missed. Ma'am, if there is another episode of unprotected intercourse within 2 days after taking emergency contraception, what needs to be done?
Start oral contraceptive pills. Okay. If the patient has forgotten a pill, in general, we have to tell that take a pill as soon as you remember. Like suppose today evening she's supposed to have taken it at 8 o'clock, but she remembers in the night at 10 o'clock. So it is okay with oral contraceptive pills because there is estrogen and progesterone. We have a wider window period. So she can take it at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And then next day she has to take at 8 o'clock, the usual time. She has to take the next pill at the, and then she has to keep on taking the next pill at 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, like that. Now suppose if she started pack, now the main problem is that they start pack only late, 2 days or more late, like instead of the 5th day they started on the 7th day. Then what to do? Either you avoid sex or you use the additional method for 7 days, because you have to cover the ovulation. You have already started on the 7th day, and for ovulation, suppose something has escaped and by second day only the follicles start getting recruited. So if she has ovulated on the 14th day, which is like another 7 days, so she has to use an additional either condom or some other barrier method for 7 days. So if she misses 2 or more of the first 7-day active pills, then same thing that we have to, for she has to cover herself for the next 7 days, just in case the ovulation occurred, and then she should not conceive. And then after that, once the ovulation is over, then she can just continue the pills and not use an additional contraception. Now, if missed 5 or more of the first 7-day pills, then we have to just, what do you do? Do not take the inactive pills and do not wait for the 7-day, but start new pack immediately. Start another pack, new pack immediately. And then this is the problem in India, like they come with 4 days not taken, 5 days not. Immediately after 48 hours, they'll get withdrawal bleeding only. If they don't take for 2-3 days together the pills, then they will start bleeding again. Either you let them have a period and start again on the next new packet, or you tell them that you finish this packet. Or sometimes I tell them to take 2 pills, whatever they have not taken, 2 pills, but cover with a barrier contraception. You take 2 pills so that till the bleeding stops, and then complete the rest of the packet by taking once a day.
Yes, ma'am.
And if missed any of the inactive pills, either they throw away all those and then start a new packet, or if patient is intelligent enough to understand, you can tell her that to take those pills but take additional 7-day contraception, or to take 2 pills till the bleeding stops and then continue with 1-day pill.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. We are done with almost all the questions in the chat box, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for your valuable time, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
What is the
ma'am.
time? Have we finished? Is it 11? Yeah, 10, 12. Okay,
10,
good.
12.
I finished early.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you all.
180 plus people have joined us.
Yeah, one good.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Chalo.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Okay. Something is there? Some women who use oral contraceptive 5 or more.
Validation. Almost we have taken, ma'am. There are the repeat questions.
Okay, okay. Chalo. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Good night, ma'am.